Okay, so let's go through the answers here. As you did in your warm-up today, first two questions, identify the domain and range. So the domain, again, is always going to be represented as the x values. So in this case, the domain is going to be 4, 6, 10, and 22. Now, usually I like to write those a little bit more cleaner and put those in our braces, typically how you find it. For the range is going to be always the y values. So in this case, as I don't have a lot of room, the range then would be the y values of -12, -18, -30, and -66. But usually we kind of write those in order from least to greatest. So I'm going to do that. But if you can at least identify the y values, that's the important part. But then usually you write these in decreasing or increasing order. Now, the equation I'll come back to in just a second. For question 2, the domain, again, is the x values. So 25, 20, 15, and 10. And again, I usually write these in increasing order. For the range, same deal, but it's the y's. Usually, again, in increasing order, so from least to greatest, -5, -4, -3, and -2. Okay, going back to then the equation. As we did in our warm-up today, we want to figure out, hey, how does that x value become that y value for each order pair? And it's got to be the same pattern to go from one to the next. If one of them screws up, there's something else going on there. But it should be a fairly kind of obvious pattern. So how do you go from, say, 4 to -12, 6 to -18, 10 to -30, 22 to -66? And each one's getting multiplied by 3. 4 times 3 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18. 10 times 3 is 30. But it's just not 3. It's going to be a -3 because then you're getting a negative on each of those. So every x is getting multiplied by -3 to give you that y. Same thing's happening on number 2. Now you're going from 25 as the x to -5 as the y. So you went down. You decreased. 20 became -4. 15 became -3. Well, first thing I'm noticing is the positive become negative. So there's going to be a negative something in there. So how do you go from 25 to 5? 20 to 4? Oh, I think I see something. We're dividing by 5. So we're dividing by 5. So we're taking the x value, and we're not just dividing by 5, but we're dividing by a -5. So you're taking the x divided by -5. You can see it written like this, or usually what you probably would see this written as, dividing by 5 is the same thing as taking it as a fifth. Multiplying by a fifth, a -1/5, is the same thing as dividing by -5. It's all about those pesky fractions you guys started talking about in 3rd grade. So dividing by 5 is the same thing as multiplying by a fifth. Okay, either answer is fine. Probably we'll see it more written as the second example or the second answer right there. Y equals